for us as an administration to start to think of other sources and means of funding our infrastructure.
Joint Senate Committee on Finance and National Planning continues hearing on 2021-2023 medium-term expenditure framework. INEC releases final list of candidates for the 2020 governorship election in Ondo State. Nigeria power sector records yet another milestone with new improved all-time peak of 5.20 megawatts of electricity.
It's a hideout for these criminals. We are not relenting. We are going to investigate.
End of the road for 5 suspected cattle rustlers as Katsina State Police Command recovers 164 allegedly rustled cows. Hello and welcome to the news on NTA. I am Jummai Yusuf. Awareness on the dreaded disease is fast gaining grounds. Let's not ignore the safety guidelines. Tonight, Dr. Oguyemi will be joining me from Lagos and Kemi Oshin from Ibadan. Thanks for joining us. Now the news. Mali's military junta has released 2 senior government officials detained during the coup against President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita. The release of Finance Minister Abdoulaye Daffé and the President's Private Secretary Sabane Mahamadou came as the junta leaders held discussions with political leaders about creating a transitional authority. The streets of capital Bamako were calm for the 3rd straight day on Friday ahead of a rally planned by an opposition coalition that led protests against Keita before the coup and has since embraced the mutineers. The coup leaders have said they acted because the country was sinking into chaos and insecurity, largely the fault of poor governance. They said they wanted to rebuild stability and have promised to oversee a transition to elections within a reasonable time. Meanwhile, a delegation from the 15-nation economic community of West African states, ECOWAS, is expected to arrive soon in Bamako after the bloc held an emergency summit on Thursday aimed at reversing the coup. The mission, led by former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, intends to negotiate the immediate release of the president and also ensure the restoration of constitutional government. Now, for some good news, the Nigerian power industry has achieved yet another improved all-time national peak of 5,420.30 megawatts, which was effectively transmitted through the national grid. This is the highest ever recorded in the nation's power sector to date, surpassing the previous peak of 5,377.80 megawatts recorded on the 1st of August 2020 by 42.50 megawatts. A statement by the General Manager Public Affairs of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Ndidimba, states that the gradual but steady improvement in electricity delivery in the nation's power sector is attributed to the keen interest of the current administration in piloting programs and projects geared towards growing the power sector, as well as the collective effort of all power sector players in the value chain. TCN says it is committed to working assiduously to further stabilize, rehabilitate and expand the grid and urge Nigerians to lend their support by safeguarding electricity installations nationwide. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari promises on security, development of the economy and fight against corruption are being achieved with the national digital policy being implemented by the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. This was highlighted at the virtual inauguration of ICT hubs and flag-off of artisan training across the country. Haman Jabani reports.
National Digital Economy Policy of Digital Nigeria, which the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy is championing, has in the last 1 year believed to have surpassed its targets.
This engagement 1 year in office is part of self-assessment, self-evaluation and self-judgment. Inviting media is to allow them to cross-examine us and at the same time come up with questions, recommendations and many more on how to take our country to greater heights.
Stakeholders say the speed by which the ministry and its parastatals are carrying out the policy is to fulfill the promises of President Muhammadu Buhari, ensure capacity building of Nigerians, and entrench accountability and good governance.
It helps greatly in alleviation of poverty, job creation, and the sustainability rate of all those they train is very high.
The project, who spread across the country under Batch 4, are to ensure access to the digital world, and the 650 participants being trained on various skills in Suleja, Ogbomosho, Okene, and Owerri are expected to become entrepreneurs and employers of labor in no distant time. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Diasporans have been called upon to assist the nation with technologically driven initiatives to tackle national threats. This, the Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs, Ibrahim Oleregbe, during an oversight visit to the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, says it will complement the efforts of the government in curbing insecurity. Elizabeth Omori reports.
Performance successes recorded and challenges within 1 year of establishment, as well as prospects to drive the objectives of the Commission, are the reasons behind the visit. They say the economic and technical expertise of diasporans are crucial to support the economic agenda of the federal government.
We should be able to look at ODAs, Overseas Development Assistance, that will support some of the activities that you do. I know you have mentioned that you work with this, but how do we explore that in specific terms? So will we write the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then we will invite you, so that we invite the two. We will write them to be able to provide us updates so that we can be able to abstract that, and then we'll be able to make our input.
Amendment of legal frameworks, remittances, and mortgage programs for diasporans were also raised.
9.6% is what you pay to transfer anything from anywhere in the world. It's too high. While others pay 3%. So one is legally, a legal framework and stuff all that. And the second is that from the charges from this money, IMTOs, something must come to Nigeria. Even if it's just a certain percentage of what they charge. If you charge 3%, not even 9.6%, a percentage comes to Nigeria through the Commission to be able to do some diaspora investment or infrastructural development.
The Commission is already developing an app to help harness the potential of Nigerians in diaspora, while efforts are being made to have an effective database system. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Revenue-generating agencies complying with regulations on remittance to the Federal account will receive necessary legislative support for them to improve. On the other hand, those that fail in this regard will risks being taken out of the national budget in the 2021 fiscal year. This was made known by the Joint Senate Committee on Finance and National Planning at the continuation of its public hearing on the 2021-2023 NTA Fiscal Strategy paper. John Yakuk has details.
The Nigeria Customs Service on how to improve revenue in the coming years noted the challenges of the free trade agreement, but hopes that the end of COVID-19 will improve imports while calling for review of import levies.
I found out from my colleagues, customs heads, it's only Nigeria that we allow Coca-Cola to produce and pay nothing.
The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, on its part, advocated for shift from oil revenue to commodity export to earn more foreign exchange for the country.
Our only foreign exchange is from oil. So that's why we were susceptible to all these challenges that oil brings to us.
Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, the NNPC and the DG Budget Office agreed on a proposed $40 per barrel benchmark, 379 naira to the dollar exchange rate, and oil production rate of 1.7 million barrels per day, in line with the OPEC production cut.
Draft 2021-2023 MTF FSP has been prepared against the backdrop of a global recession and heightened global economic uncertainty.
We have to help the industry just to ensure that we comply with OPEC, because when we have to do that, to ensure that the price picks up again.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, and Chairman of the committee stressed the need to improve revenue to finance the country's budget deficit.
The time has come for us as an administration to to start to think of other sources and means of funding our infrastructure.
If you are partly funded and you generate revenue which you spend and which is more than some of the budget head contained in your budget document, you have to give it.
Also at the hearing was the Director General of Nigerian Television Authority, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed.
The digitization of NTA was supposed to have commenced even before the DSO was introduced. But like I said, out of the 5 necessities necessary to make NTA a partially commercialized enterprise, only one was put in place. And this is the situation to date.
The Federal Inland Revenue Services was urged to deploy technology in the collection of stamp duties. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
In the meantime, the management of the NTA has described a false and malicious report making the rounds in the social media to the effect that the Senate committee has discovered a financial fraud running into billions of naira in the joint venture arrangement between the NTA and Star Times. In a sharp reaction, the management averred that neither the chairman of the committee, Senator Solomon Olamilekun, nor any member alluded to fraud during the entire session. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says the commission received 17 candidates and deputy governorship candidates for the Ondo governorship election. In accordance with Section 35 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended and as provided in the timetable and schedule of activities released on 6 February 2020, withdrawal and substitution of candidates ended at 6 p.m. on 18 August 2020. A statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, however, indicates that 4 political parties that earlier made valid nominations have substituted their candidates. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, Action Democratic Party, ADP, and the People's Democratic Party, PDP, withdrew and substituted their deputy governorship candidates, while the Zenith Labour Party, ZLP, substituted both its governorship and deputy governorship candidates consequently. The Commission has published the final list of nominated candidates in the state and local governments in Ondo State. Still talking politics, the All Progressives Congress has inaugurated another committee to reconcile members within the party in some affected states. Chairman of the Caretaker and Extraordinary National Convention Committee of the party, May Malabuni, says aggrieved members who left APC are now ready to return unconditionally. Saliu Abdullahi reports.
Within 3 months in office, the Caretaker and Extraordinary National Convention Committee of the APC has set up 3 strategic reconciliation committees. This is the latest of such committees expected to reconcile aggrieved members of APC in Imo and Ogun State. Chairman of the Caretaker Committee, Governor Malabuni, says his primary purpose as a leader is to rebuild APC and promote its core objectives of inclusive governance.
With the support enjoyed from members of the party, the committee has recorded remarkable headways, reclaiming some distinguished and very valuable members with thousands of their supporters back to our fold. I am equally fulfilled that our exploits in reconciling our members in Edo and Ondo State has strengthened the party and further expanded our chances with assurances of winning the governorship elections in the 2 states with landslide victories.
Chairman of the Reconciliation Committee, Governor Abubakar Badar of Jigawa State, said they are equal to the task.
You see, the team so selected by the national chairman is a team that is conversant with the party situation. We have been in these assignments all the time, so we know the problems, and by special grace of God, we know how to solve the problems.
The committee has governors of Plateau and Nasarawa State as members. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The People's Democratic Party says it remains vehemently committed to a peaceful governorship election in Edo State come September 19th. The party's national chairman, Uche Sekondo, stated this at an enlarged media briefing in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Their briefing, according to the PDP national chairman, is born out of perceived tendencies in the polity and capable of undermining a violence-free election if not properly nipped in the bud. The task of ensuring a peaceful process, he believes, therefore, lie in the security agencies, the election umpire, INEC, and the electorate themselves.
We will do our best, but we want to bring it to the knowledge of everyone. We will be civil.
Secondus also calls for stiffer sanction for would-be perpetrators of electoral violence during the coming governorship poll in both Edo and Ondo states. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
To other matters now, President Muhammadu Buhari has set up a special visitation panel to look into the crisis at the University of Lagos and submit a report of their recommendations within 2 weeks. A statement by the Director of Press and Public Relations, Federal Ministry of Education, Bembem Gong, indicates that there are 7 members on the panel, and the Pro-Chancellor, Chairman of the Council, and the Vice-Chancellor are to recuse themselves from official duties during the period of the visitation. The government has also directed the Senate of the University of Lagos to immediately convene to nominate an acting Vice-Chancellor from amongst its members for confirmation by the Governing Council. He or she shall oversee the affairs of the university pending government's decision on the report of the Special Visitation Panel. This is the network news on NTA. Let's pause a little for some commercials. The news continues shortly. Don't go away.
Welcome to Glow's new data plans with night browsing bonus. Dial *777#. Glow Unlimited.
Who says we have to go back to normal? What if we choose to be open and say, I will never call my job unimportant again. I refuse to be a stranger in my own living room. I'll lead like a woman, and I stand by every word I say. Make my vote count, make my voice heard today. See, I'll never forget how much stronger we are together. I'll carry that in my heart forever. We'll weather the storm, so I'll be open like never before.
We keep it moving. We going straight to the top, like in a 9. We tell them, haters, this is war. Slowing down, I'm making a stop. We waiting to drop. Do us a favor.
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Going straight to the top, like in a 9. We tell them, haters,
to see this. I'm the boss.
never slowing down, I'm making a stop. We waiting to drop. Do us a favor. We keep it moving.
ICPC and NTA say you can help Nigeria to flatten the curve on COVID-19, just as you can help flatten the curve on corruption. Follow transparency, accountability, and integrity just as you follow health guidelines. Stay home with integrity and maintain your distance from corruption, just as you stay away from COVID-19 by maintaining social distance. Report every act of corruption to ICPC, just as you report COVID-19 to NCDC. Stay away from corruption, stay safe from COVID-19. Report any act of corruption to ICPC on toll-free number 0800-2255-4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
for rejoining us. The Nigerian military, through the Directorate of Defense Media Operations, says the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has destroyed several Boko Haram terrorist structures, neutralizing several of their fighters at Washale in the northern part of Borno State. The mission was executed on the ongoing subsidiary Operation Hailstorm after credible intelligence reports and a series of aerial surveillance missions established that the settlement was one of those being used by the terrorists as a staging area to launch attacks. Nigerian Air Force fighter jets and attack helicopters then engaged the location, resulting in the obliteration of several structures as well as the neutralization of some of the terrorists. Meanwhile, the Armed Forces of Nigeria, operating in concert with other security agencies, says it will sustain efforts to rid the nation of all terrorists and other criminal elements. Still on security, the federal government has resuscitated the $470 million National Public Security Communication System network that will generate thousands of jobs to Nigerians. Minister of Police Affairs Mohammed Megarit Ngiadi have confirmed this at a press briefing to mark his one-year stewardship in the ministry. Francis Form reports.
Mandates of formulating and implementing policies and programs relating to policing and internal security, as well as provide supervision and administrative support to the Nigeria Police. The Ministry of Police Affairs has successfully supervised the recruitment, training and deployment of 10,000 constables into the Nigeria Police Force, acquisition of police operational and combat vehicles, and the establishment of National Command and Control Center in Abuja.
From the targets and deliverables assigned to the ministry by the present administration, we are happy to report that the ministry has recorded several achievements within the short period under review. The highlights of some of the achievements include: 1. We have re-established functional departments in the ministry.
We arrest them, we take the arms.
The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, gave an insight into the ongoing operations and the successes recorded in that direction.
So we've achieved a lot in terms of bringing down criminality, in terms of banditry, kidnapping, and other forms of violent crime. We've been able to degrade them. You hardly hear of any attack.
The minister assures that the ministry is poised to doing its best in working out strategies and professionally executing them for better policing and stability of the country. In Abuja, Francis from NTA News.
The Katsina State Police Command has apprehended 5 suspected cattle rustlers and recovered a trailer loaded with 164 cows alleged to have been rustled from Zurmi local government area of Zamfara State. Abdul Malik Hassan reports that the suspects were arrested on their way to Yobe State.
For quite some time now, cattle rustling has been alarming in the frontline local government areas of Katsina State, as hundreds of cows have been reportedly rustled, coupled with banditry in the northwest. The activity has also led to loss of lives of many innocent people. However, following the efforts made by security operatives to bring to an end a menace, a joint operation of the police and the Nigeria Customs officers operating in GBR local government area of Katsina State apprehended suspected cattle rustlers with 3 trailers loaded with 164 cows. The suspects were said to be conveying the cattle from Zurmi, which is one of the frontline local government areas in Zamfara State, and to be delivered in Yobe State before they were arrested.
Zurmi, we know, is a hideout for these criminals. We are not relenting. We are going to investigate the sources of these cows.
One of the suspects accompanying the trucks, who also claimed to be an inspector with the Nigerian Immigration Service, Abubakar Shafiu, implied that he has the consent of the district head, divisional police and Mieti Allah group granting permission to move the cows out of the state. However, there was discrepancy in the figures written on the document. The command says investigation is ongoing and will charge to court those found wanting of the criminal offense. In Katsina, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has taken the message of sensitization of flood disaster to Ungwandudu, a flood-prone community in Gwagwalada Area Council of the FCT. The campaign is in partnership with the FCT branch of the agency. FEMA. Ilyasu Onoto Yakubu reports.
Memories of the last 3 weeks flooding, which claimed lives in Giri and adjoining communities to Gwagwalada, are still fresh in the minds of residents of Ngwandodo in Gwagwalada. And so, the message NEMA and FEMA brings to the people of the area is to take active role in preventing reoccurrence of flood. NEMA is taking a cue from FEMA's initiative to utilize town criers in villages to spread the message in view of adherence to the COVID-19 protocols.
Our message to the people that are residing in the prone area is to live before the rain comes.
Create awareness in them and advise them to send out their town criers to at least the next 10 villages.
On the streets, the team spoke to residents on salient negative attitudes of humanity to the environment, which accounts for the recurrent flooding, just as they encourage the people to utilize the 112 toll-free emergency number for quick response.
My advice will say, anybody that hurts or anybody that is affected, let him just quickly vacate.
Billboards and signages were erected by the team to serve as constant reminders to the people. Ilyasu Onoto Yakubu, NTA.
Philanthropists across the globe have continued to provide succor for people affected by war and disasters, including Nigerians. In further commitment to this cause, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has taken its distribution of palliatives to Wasa IDP camps to cushion the effect of COVID-19 pandemic among the internally displaced persons. Obiageli Ugoke reports that this is part of the activities marking the 1-year anniversary of the ministry.
In this IDP camp, she brings 137 grinding machines to our women, and many of the skill acquisitions she teaches, we appreciate.
For the past 12 months, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has been providing relief to the likes of Jeffrey, Hafsat and many other victims of natural and man-made disaster across Nigeria. In spite of the coronavirus pandemic, the ministry is not deterred from doing the needful to ensure that the poor in the country are taken care of by providing COVID-19 palliatives. This time, the ministry is in Wasa internally displaced persons camp doing the needful to ensure that the poor in the community are taken care of.
That is our essence of coming here to celebrate our 1-year anniversary with the IDPs.
Dedicated to providing assistance to those in need, the ministry is marking its first anniversary with the IDPs. Obiageli Ugoke, NTA News.
Now, airline operators are gradually picking up with an average flight frequency of 65 to 70% at the Abuja airport. Aviation correspondent Emmanuel Ayimuro reports that the gradual passenger increase is due to confidence reports in the sector going by the strict adherence to COVID-19 protocol.
2 weeks after the reopening of the airport for domestic flight operation, the airside is still begging for the usual hustle and bustling due to flight frequency reduction by airline operators.
They've gradually been able to build confidence over a short period of time. The frequencies are pretty much back to normal.
As at the time of filing this report, a Benin-bound aircraft with 50 passenger capacity has 49 people on board, while this aircraft from Lagos with 140 capacity arrived with 122 passengers.
Although it may sound impressive to hear that most seats of some airlines are almost full, the fact is that due to the current reality of COVID-19, most airlines have reduced their frequency in order to cut costs.
They're coming back already, mainly Thursday and Friday.
There's some increase towards weekends, like today and tomorrow. It's better than Monday, Tuesday, maybe likely Wednesday.
I've never entertained any fear as regards to flight schedule since the resumption of flights.
Domestic flights in and out of the Abuja airport have been smooth, with passengers already used to the COVID-19 protocol required by operators. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Federal Road Safety Corps has impounded 800 articulated vehicles and prosecuted 150 unlatched containerized cargoes offenders in less than 2 weeks of the commencement of the Operation Scorpion 2. The Corps Marshal Bobwe Oyeyemi made this known at the 2020 strategy session with zonal commanding officers and sector commanders in Abuja. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
The incessant incidents of container-laden trucks tripping over and killing many, with some sustaining various degrees of injuries, inspired the institution of Operation Scorpion 2 by the Federal Road Safety Corps. More personnel of the FRSC have been deployed to the roads to inspect and monitor the movement of trucks from the ports to the city.
You know, we have the Lagos State traffic laws, we have the Ogun State traffic laws, we have the Oyo State traffic laws, and the FRSC Act. So, but for Lagos Agis, we've invoked Lagos State traffic laws. The penalty is 250,000 for this violation, compared to the 5,000 in our Act. So, we go for the maximum penalty. 90% of the articulated vehicles on the roads today, they're over 30 years, they're aged. So we are experiencing frequent breakdowns because of the age of the vehicles, and all the ports now, we've put surveillance on all the ports that are in operation to ensure that this does not repeat itself.
It was revealed that the truck drivers now move around under the cover of the night. This, the Corps Marshal says, will be strictly resisted, as he urged officers and men to sustain the steam of the ongoing operation, which started within the corridors of Lagos-Ibadan stretch. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Let's pause here and join Dotun in Lagos for some reports. Hello, Dotun. What's the latest from Lagos?
Thank you, Jummai. For an healthcare center to effectively and efficiently perform its obligation to the populace, the state of its equipment and service delivery play a vital role. To achieve this, the Federal Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs donated vital medical equipment to Onikon Health Center in Lagos. Imola Yotokede has details.
The medical equipment include the cardiotocography machine and phototherapy machine, comprising remote control delivery beds and automatic cardiac defibrillator. Others are the neonatal incubator, blood bank refrigerator, and many more.
We hereby declare this medical equipment for good use.
These machines were provided by the National Lottery Trust Fund to improve healthcare services to patients around the Lagos Island. Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Special Duties Office, Festus Daudu, said the National Lottery Trust Fund is one of the alternative non-oil source of revenue that the federal government has identified to ensure returns are maximized in the country.
The government is therefore determined to give full attention to the industry to ensure that it performs to meet fully the revenue and developmental aspirations of the nation.
This event celebrates Lagos State Government as our national lottery beneficiary, to whom these vital medical facilities are being handed over.
It is in our act that we should use the proceeds, the 20% proceeds from lottery, to do good cause projects, and that is just what we have done.
For the 60-year-old health facility, this equipment will enhance better medical care delivery.
By tomorrow morning, 80% of these items are going to go to where they are needed. This donation is very timely.
The ministry further said that the central monitoring system, which remove all inefficiencies and boost the capacity of the lottery industry, has been implemented. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokide, NTA News.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has assured residents that the battle against the COVID-19 pandemic is gradually being won as the state continues to record lower confirmed cases of the virus. The governor gave the assurance during a courtesy visit by the United States Ambassador to Nigeria, Mary Beth Leonard, at the State House in Alausa, Ikeja. Nusa Usla reports.
The governor
governor, who commended the United States of America for its support in the battle against the pandemic, reiterated the commitment of the federal and state governments to flattening the curve of the virus in the state and the country at large.
It's a new normal. It's one of the things that has come, around all of us. And like I did mention to you, we've learned a great deal. We've learned a lot, for the past 5-6 months. We estimated that we'll probably be, flattening, the curve by August. And our prediction is coming true.
The United States ambassador to Nigeria, who commended the Lagos state government for successfully managing the COVID-19 pandemic so far, assured the governor of the continuous support of the United States.
It's so great to see an entire room full of people, everyone wearing their mask appropriately, and nice distance between the two of us. Everybody needs to be able to say, COVID-19 stops with me.
The ambassador, however, urged residents to continue to comply with government's COVID-19 prevention directives. In Lagos, Nosa, Osula, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Let's now take another break. Network News continues shortly.
Welcome to Glow's new data plans with night browsing bonus. Dial *777#. Glow Unlimited.
Hey, mama. Taste is key and that's how we communicate. Taste love in every school. Mama, tasty mama. Share the love. We all together. I love my mama. Mama, taste love.
Bama. Taste love in every scoop.
Panadol Extra, now also available in a 4-tablet strip at 50 Naira only. Panadol Extra, now also available in a 4-tablet strip at 50 Naira only. Panadol Extra, now also available in a 4-tablet strip at 50 Naira only.
Really good.
It's good to know you're still there. Russian ambassador to Nigeria Alexis Shabrashin met today with delegates of the Nigerian-Russia Chamber of Commerce Industry to discuss partnership opportunities for trade and commerce and economic development. The report.
It is the first official outing of the Nigeria-Russia Chamber of Commerce and Industry ahead of the official public inauguration. It was also the first time that the Russian ambassador is meeting the joint chamber.
Both our countries, Nigeria and Russia, have a lot of offer to each other, be it industry, mineral resources, modern technologies, etc., etc.
We will bring each and every one of us together and try to promote trade, commerce. We will also be involved in facilitating both micro and macro activities.
Nigeria and Russia have historically had an economically empowering relationship, which is expected to be further enhanced through the Joint Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Now for the latest on COVID-19 and all the reports, World Health Organization and Unicef urges safe school reopening in Africa as Lebanon imposes partial lockdown following spike in coronavirus cases. Joyce Ometo has a global update on COVID-19.
The World Health Organization and United Nations Children's Agency have urged African governments to promote the safe reopening of schools while taking measures to limit the spread of coronavirus. A survey of 39 countries by the WHO and UNICEF shows that only 6 African countries have fully opened schools. And from East Africa comes a report that doctors in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, have embarked on a strike action Friday to protest against delayed salaries and lack of protective equipment when handling COVID-19 patients. Elsewhere, Lebanon has imposed a partial lockdown for 2 weeks to counter coronavirus infections, which have spiked since the explosion of Beirut's ports. Medics say infections have spread in the aftermath of the explosion as hospitals are flooded with casualties. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization is in talks with Russia to obtain more information about its experimental COVID-19 vaccine that the country last week approved even before starting the crucial phase 3 trial. And the global death toll from COVID-19 is creeping towards 800,000. Data collated by a coronavirus research center in Johns Hopkins University indicates that there are now 22,979,289 cases, out of which 15,609,917 have recovered. The African continent has 1,163,119 cases, 27,042 deaths, and 885,167 recoveries. Now back home in Nigeria, record by the Center for Disease Control and CDC reveal that 50,964 cases have been confirmed in the country, 37,569 cases discharged, and 992 fatalities recorded. And that's a global update on COVID-19. I am Joyce Ometu.
An assessment of the impact of COVID-19 on telecom networks and service delivery to customers has been carried out to ensure service providers live up to expectations despite the disruption caused by the pandemic. Joseph Johnson reports that the virtual meeting was organized by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC.
The advent of COVID-19, Nigeria, like other parts of the world, is still finding ways of adapting to the new normal. The shift from the regular has impacted on all sectors of the economy, but as people take to the internet more than ever to reach family, friends and transact business activities, the telecommunications sector has come under scrutiny owing to complaints bordering on data usage and billing, as well as quality of service and experience. This first edition of Virtual Telecom Consumer Parliament seeks to address the various issues raised by consumers.
Come up with suggestions that will enhance the delivery of efficient and qualitative service to our esteemed consumers during and after the COVID-19 pandemic period.
We would continue to do everything within our regulatory mandate to ensure that constant improvement in telecom service delivery is sustained.
Discussing the theme, the impact of COVID-19 on telecom service delivery, the regulatory body is hopeful that this platform will reinforce efforts aimed at protecting telecom consumers' interests and ultimately promote a healthy telecom industry for all. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
The training to bring women who operate small and medium-scale businesses at par with international business operations has been concluded in Abuja with financial empowerment from the Minister of Women Affairs. Ngozi Sylvia Technical has the details.
Lots. In fact, when we started, there's no handwork and we did not learn.
Because of this token that was given to me, I will use it to boost my business. I'm actually a poultry farmer.
The cash benefit is intended to boost the women's businesses and better their lives and the economy, especially in this COVID era. The Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talin, stressed that the training is timely.
Whatever a woman gets is the family that benefits. And once the family, the woman is empowered, it boosts the economy because it has a multiplier effect.
Women are very resourceful, and we believe no matter how little you give a woman, just give her time. You see how she's going to change the life, not only the life of her family, but the nation and society at large.
The training is also intended to prepare the women to become self-reliant and well-equipped to key into the post-COVID-19 economic recovery plans of the federal government. In Abuja, Ngozi Silva, Technical, NTA News.
Now it's time to join Kemi in our studio in Ibadan for reports from that zone. Hello, Kemi.
And a warm welcome to Ibadan. The federal government's 774,000 job recruitment exercise witnessed massive turnout in Oyo State. Ifeoluwa Omoshile monitored the exercise in Ibadan. Her report is here presented.
Applicants for the federal government 774,000 special public service works in Oyo State applaud the federal government for the gesture. The two-day recruitment process kick-started simultaneously across the 33 local government areas in Oyo State. Oreoluwa Dekombi and others say the initiative is a saving grace during these hard times.
But this is another source of income for some families that don't have any other source of income.
But I just thank our President Muhammadu Buhari for this program.
The monitoring team, along with the security operatives, were on ground to ensure a eat-free exercise.
This is the first phase of the recruitment process. People will obtain form from the local governments. The form is free.
The 774,000 jobs recruitment by the federal government is to cushion the effect of COVID-19 on the citizens, which requires no skills or certification.
Muslim Ummah in Nigeria have joined the rest of the world to mark the new Islamic year Hijrah 1442. Dayo Gushala in this report examines the significance of Hijrah as he captures the mood among Muslim faithful in Ibadan. His report is here presented.
Hijrah is a historic migration of Prophet Muhammad and early Muslim faithful from Mecca to Medina to avoid continuing persecution from unbelievers. The arrival of Muharram, being the first month of Islam, is usually being marked among the Muslims. These Islamic clerics believe should be replicated beyond the initial context in today's world.
We are expecting the Muslim at this man to migrate from the sin, withdraw himself from sin to the lawful thing which Allah has made it lawful for us.
By stooping to conquer. Part of stooping to conquer is observing Hijrah when the situation is growing messy, because there must never be any problem, any hostility, any form of hatred when you are offering God a just worship.
At some of the mosques visited on the first Jummai prayer in the year 1442 HA, faithful say the new year provides opportunity to correct the ills of the past.
I'm getting closer to the grave. That should inform me to change whatever I'm doing that is not good enough.
Muharram is one of the few holy months in Islam which calls for increased acts of worship.
You're still watching Network News on the NTA. More reports with Jummai in Abuja.
Thank you, Kemi. Now towards sustaining historical ties between Diffa Province in Niger Republic and Borno State, the governor of Diffa Province, Isa Lamin, was at the government house in Maiduguri to visit Professor Babagana Umar Zulum. Mohamed Goni reports that the visiting governor was accompanied by officials of the province and traditional rulers.
Agents such as the visit by the governor of Diffa Province, Isa Lamin, the historical ties between Borno and the neighboring Diffa in Niger Republic has always been stressed. A substantial number of Nigerian refugees of Borno extraction are currently taking refuge in Diffa and other neighboring communities in Niger Republic. Dipa Province Governor Issa Lemin said they are in Borno to, among other things, sympathize with Governor Bagana Umara over the recent attack on his convoy in Baga, Kukawa local government, and to reciprocate the visit by Governor Zulum, who was in Dipa twice in the cause of Nigerian refugees there. He added that both states on the shores of Lake Chad are affected by the atrocities committed by the insurgents. Hence, they need to collaborate to support the fight against the insurgency, and further express optimism that peace will soon return to the Lake Chad region to enable people return to normal life. Professor Bagana Umara appreciated the Dipa Province Governor and the entourage for the visit, which he described as homecoming, considering the historical ties between the two states, and further assured to sustain the relationship. He thanked the Nigerian government and the Dipa Province for hosting displaced citizens of Borno in spite of the economic challenges confronting them.
Borno State will be sending a very high delegation to the occasion that you are holding in December in Difa.
Governor Bagana Umara also informed the visitors that government plans to evacuate refugees of Borno extraction in Difa who are willing to return home, adding that the visit will afford them the opportunity to put heads together on the matter. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Koni, NTA News.
Former Super Eagles player Daniel Amokachi reacts to his appointment as Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on sports. Tamara Ebue has this more.
Super Eagles forward and Nigeria's football ambassador Daniel Amokachi has vowed to complement the efforts of Youth and Sports Minister Sunday Dare in returning sports in Nigeria to its glory days. Former Everton player is elated after his appointment as Special Assistant to